everybody, and welcome to 7 Minutes. The Cleveland Orchestra's 2016-17 season is underway, and it promises to be historic, fun, and exciting. And we are honored to be here on the stage of Severance Hall with the orchestra's legendary conductor, Franz Welser-Most, who is beginning his 15th season as music director of the Cleveland Orchestra. Franz, thank you so much for having us here on your home floor. We appreciate that.
Great to have you.
We're going to begin our conversation in a second, but first, for folks at home, let's take a look at the maestro at work. Franz Welser-Most, thank you again for having us here today. It's certainly an honor.
Great pleasure.
You have been here since 2002. I understand you signed a deal that's going to keep you here at least through 2020. You could go anywhere you want, I'm sure. Why Cleveland? Why this orchestra? What keeps you here?
Because it's really unique. You know, for the best orchestra in America, which it is, to be situated in a relatively small city is really a unique setting, and the spirit of this orchestra is so special. Mm-hmm. When I come to a first rehearsal, everyone is prepared, there's great discipline, and there's a focus on music only. And you know, in many of the other big places, if you go to New York, to London, to Berlin, Paris, whatnot, there's of course always some politics involved and all this. And here it's just about the music, period.
Well, let me ask you this. If you had to pick one ingredient that makes a good orchestra, what would that ingredient be?
That's a good question. I think it's really the mindset. It's what you want to achieve. It all starts here.
Right. And what do you want to achieve when you're up here?
I want to achieve, depending on what we play, but in every piece there's a core message. And to get really to the core, to the essence of a piece, that's what I want. And you know, on the sidelines, playing technically and musically better than anybody else. But in the end of the day, it's all about communicating with the audiences, giving them what a masterpiece of great art has to say.
When I see you up here conducting, it's like watching a surgeon, a teacher, a coach. I mean, all these things come to mind, and I sit there and I wonder, what is going through his head at any given time when you're up here conducting?
You know, conducting, a lot of people think conducting is about the movements. You know, that's sort of silent language, yeah? But I always say 50% of my job is psychology. Mm-hmm. You have 104 musicians, in this case 104 musicians in front of you, and they're all extremely well trained, educated. They're great experts in what they do on their instruments. But then, and they also have opinions, and you have to steer them all together in one direction, and that takes a lot of psychology.
So you are like a teacher in that respect, coach, teacher, those kind of things.
Yes, coach I think would be the right word.
You started off playing the violin.
Yes,
as a child.
True.
I read when you were 18 years old, you were in a car accident, damaged some nerves, had to put your violin studies aside and concentrate on conducting. 18 years old, you're a young man. Can you recall what you were thinking at that point? Were you devastated? Did you know you had to make a change?
No, it was, I still tried to play the violin and tried to fight it. And you know, these things happen in a split of a second, such a car accident.
Yeah.
But it takes you a long time to realize what really had happened. And so it took me really quite a few years to sort of find my way through all this and know what I want to do next.
Why conducting?
I think simply because I have a talent for it. and it's an amazing job because you, as I said before, you know, you have to steer all these people in one direction, and it's an enormous challenge. You have to multitask so many things at the same time, and you have to be able even to predict things which are about to happen, and maybe you have to avoid that or you have to push it.
Sure.
It's a fascinating, really fascinating job.
Let's talk about the new season. What are you looking forward to the most?
They're like always, you know, you have this big menu and you say, oh, is this my favorite? Is that my favorite? The only thing I always can say when we plan a season is that I'm always left disappointed because I have to leave out so many things because there's only that much time. But for sure, one is St. John's Passion, Bach, and of course, Pelléas and Mélisande, the opera, is truly a highlight.
Who's your favorite composer?
That keeps changing.
Okay.
You go through phases in life. But one composer which has sort of accompanied me my entire life from my first childhood memory, my mother playing the piano at home, I must have been 3 years old or something like that. That's Franz Schubert.
Okay. When you're at home listening to music on a day off, is there anybody you listen to who folks at home would go, I'm really surprised that Franz Welser-Most listens to that?
I have to tell you, I never listen to music at home.
Really?
No. I always, when people ask me that question, I say, you know, imagine being a surgeon, going home and watching videos of surgeries. I don't think people do that. Yeah. It's actually, it has also to do with that my main tools are actually my ears, because what I hear, I have to control and I have to mold it then into something what I want. And so also my ears just need a rest.
I think it's called a busman's holiday.
Yes,
in other words.
That's right.
We are really honored that you talk to us for many reasons. One reason is you never do interviews. You don't do interviews a lot, and somebody told me that Franz has no interest in being a celebrity. As somebody who's got a very public job, is that tough?
Sometimes it is, yes. You know, I was born, it seems, to make music, and of course I know that there are other sides to the job, but you know, I'm a very private person, and I love my privacy, and so sometimes it's a little hard.
I've got about 15 seconds left. Anything that you haven't done in your career that you're saying, I got to do that before I decide to retire at some point?
I have at home a huge library, and I have about 6,000 or 7,000 scores at home, and I think there are several hundreds which I still would like to do. So I wish for a long life.
You're going to be busy. Franz Welser-Most, again, an honor.
Thank you very much.
And thank you so much for watching. That's all for this week. I'll see you Monday at 6 on the news, and back here next week at 7 minutes. Have a great weekend.
To watch this segment again or see previous editions of 7 Minutes with Russ Mitchell, please go to WKYC.com.